limits are of what children can do are essentially unknown, for one thing. The defined subjects are even when the standards are supposedly quite high, they're all crafted with what is the common belief about what students of a particular age can learn and do. I think my answer would be the limits are not anything to worry about. Here are students trying to understand rainbows. They have experimented with prisms, so they know that this business of the light spectrum getting broken up. So that then they start to have questions. One very good question was, well, why are the colors always in the same order? Okay. Now, if you go on the web to look for an answer, if you just put that question into Google, you will get pages and pages of results that speak to it. But they tend to be of two kinds. One are pages written for students of that age. Those answers are inadequate. They don't actually answer the question. And sometimes what they say is just plain wrong. The other pages are scientifically accurate, but they immediately go into trigonometry. And the mathematics is beyond the students. So it's easy to say here, okay, there's a limit to what the kids this age can understand about the colors of the rainbow because they don't have trigonometry. And that's a perfectly reasonable thing. But they can still make a lot of sense out of, they can make better sense out of the facts as they know them. So they start to learn, if they investigate, that the wavelength has something to do with this. That the speed of light as it passes through the prism has something to do with it. And they eventually say, well, so here's our theory. And it's not a bad theory. It's far from complete. But what they come up with is somewhat better than the material that was written for them. As far as we're concerned, that's real progress. That's scientific progress. And furthermore, they have felt that they're part of this whole enterprise of trying to explain the phenomena of light. You see, at this age, it's still news to them that we see because light comes into the eye. Some of them believe that the light goes out from the eye, and that's the object. But scientists believed that at one time too. It's a natural enough thing. So they're making progress on that. Now, one child asked a question that's much, much deeper than why are the colors all in the same order. It was, how can, you're saying that the raindrop acts like a prism. Okay, but how do millions and millions of raindrops make one rainbow? Now that's a deep question. And if you go on the web to find the answer to that one, lots of luck. You just may not find an answer at all to that. And the answers that do get put together are going to be quite dismaying to you, because what it ends up with is that when you and I are both looking at the rainbow, we're not seeing the same rainbow. The light that's coming to us is coming from a different bunch of raindrops from the other. that question was brought up and it simply didn't go anywhere. No one picked up on it. And my view would be, for kids this age, these were in grade 4, so they're in your age range of 9 to 10. It's probably just as well that they leave that alone. But it would be good if they understood there is that question. You know, there are things to be understood. These kids are at a very precious age, and they want to understand the whole world. They will soon give up, but at this age, they're still willing to give it a try. I liken them to Aristotle, because he thought if he worked at it, he could understand the whole world too. But that was partly because people didn't know enough then for him to realize that, no, I'm not going to make it. These kids don't realize that either, but they can do so much, you know, with what they have going for them at that time. But it's putting what they should come away with from these early years is a conviction that will stay with them forever. And that is that potentially the whole world makes sense. And it makes sense as a system. It's not, there's an explanation for this and there's an explanation for that and so on. They all know that already. But that these things hang together. Having them feel that they are indeed a part of this civilization-wide effort to understand things is, you know, they know they've got a lot of company, and that's very important. The other thing, though, that's very important, it seems to us for kids this age, is that they should have this notion that Marlene talked about of every idea is improvable. Now, they probably understand it at that level. They can recognize that. They don't yet see that the improvement is not just improving one idea at a time. Right? It's building conceptual structures and so on. However, by the time that they are 2 or 3 years older, if they have continued to work at idea improvement, they're beginning to get the hang of the idea that things should make sense as a whole. They will have seen that the same kinds of relations and facts come together in all their various efforts to explain things. So real progress is possible at this age. And when I say it's a precious age, it's that, well, if you don't do it then, you know, if you don't get them into this notion that the world is comprehensible at that time, they're probably never going to get it. Because a few years later, they're just into doing this work, this course, here's this assignment, here's a sheet of problems you have to solve, and so on. And they will start to lose sight of it. But at this earlier age, there isn't anything they absolutely have to learn in science. And if you ask, as we have sometimes, university science professors, they really think they have to start over from the beginning regardless of what the students have done in school, because they've just got a head full of unrelated facts, and and you have to start and build it up. I think it's very good to have teachers conscious of them and recognizing that there's a whole lot more to work in science, let's say, than memorizing facts. There's a whole lot more than memorizing a few ideas, such as nothing's certain, and so on. But on the other hand, I really do feel that if the focus is on idea development, the idea that ideas are, the notion that ideas are improvable and that they can be put together into theories, and theories drive research. Research doesn't drive theory so much. That all of those skills will be brought into play. And the main virtue of those lists is just to keep teachers from getting too narrowly focused on one or two things. It helps to be reminded from time to time that there's a lot of different stuff going on when you're doing science or any other subject.